everybody, welcome to Ed Shack. We're back. Look, I know you're here to learn something or to be entertained, so I'm going to try and do the two things at once with 5 minutes. I want to make 5-minute videos. 5-minute timer started. What I'm going to do, excuse me, got a frog in my throat, is show you, because I wanted to know this when I first started out with an interest in photography, how to use the camera, and no one really was able to put it in a way that was easily understood, so I'm going to try and do that now. So we've got to look at things like ISO, shutter speed, aperture, and lens, what do they call it, lens, the millimeters, the focal length. Alright, focal length. And in amongst all of that as well is, I guess, the focal plane, or you know, the depth of field. You might have heard of that as well. Depth of field. Okay, so ISO is just the International Standards Organization for categorizing film. So it's film speed, all right? So it can go down to as low as 6. These are just arbitrary numbers that they put together. And then, you know, they might start, and they go kind of binary as well. So it might start at like 6, and then it'll go up to something else. And typically, sometimes you see 64, sometimes 100. And then it seems to go up in hundreds thereof, 200, all the way up to 256,000. Super fast speeds kind of thing. So what that means is the lower the number, the less light sensitivity. So it's like, it's not, I'm going to make this accurate, so I'm not going to say it's like that. What it is it's actually the ability for the film or the light sensor to receive photons and then change a black background to completely white. So to get to that, it takes a long time when it's so slow. So it's super slow. This is slow. This is fast. So what we've got is, you know, you need like minutes to get an exposure at the correct exposure, and here you need like milliseconds. I can't write very well. Anyway, milliseconds, so very short time frame, and then a long time frame to make the same kind of exposure happening with an ISO of 6 or 100 or 64 as opposed to 256,000. You just need to have the shutter open for a little tiny time. So the speed is the film speed or the sensitivity of the sensor or the film to receive light. Shutter is just the way that the shutter opens and closes. So there's a forward and a rear shutter. So front and rear. Front, rear. This is this slit, if you like, where light can come in and hit the sensor or the film. So if that's a big opening, then you've got like a couple of seconds. Where it's a tiny narrow slit where these things come together, and you've got this shutter curtain in here, and it lets a tiny bit of light in, then obviously we're down into the millisecond range. So the shutter is basically going to be a top and bottom, like, so if this is the sensor, what happens is you've got the shutter at the top and the bottom, so it'll go down like that and then another one following it like that. And when they come close together, you'll get this little effect where a window comes over like that, if that makes sense. So if there's a big gap, it'll go that and that. If there's a small gap in terms of small, fast shutter that you want, like in the range of, you know, 1/8000th of a second, it'll be going like that almost, just to let light in very quickly. Aperture. By the way, sometimes the front, top and bottom kind of leaves like that. Sometimes they're in like veins, and so they're like layers of metal which either slide up and down across each other, so they open and close in a circular fashion. But this is more normal nowadays. Aperture. Aperture is basically, you've got your lens, And then you've got similar type of thing to the shutter. You've got this iris effect, same thing with your eye. So your iris in the pupil there, to make the pupil big, your iris contracts and moves away.
Data being received.
Oh my gosh,
Data being received.
we're up.
Data.
That's 5 minutes. I will continue this in another video.